Welcome to Syd and Malcolm on exclusively on malcolmpresents.com. And Syd, it's been a while.
It has
It's been
been.
about a month or so since we've been on, I think.
It has been a month with there was a hiatus with the Jewish holidays, the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah, then Yom Kippur, then Sukkot.
Okay, most people know Rosh Hashanah is a new year.
Right.
Yom Kippur is a Day of Atonement. What is Sukkot?
Okay, Sukkot is a celebration of the harvest. It's one of the oldest holidays that our people celebrate, probably in the 3,000 to 4,000 year range. And the holiday thanks God for the harvest that we have gotten. And in order to celebrate it, what we do is we build a temporary shelter near your home, and it is commanded that you try to eat your meals outdoors looking at the sky. And there is an opening on most Sukkot on there is no real roof. It could be reeds, it could be planks, but it enables you to see the sky. And then you do the mitzvot of lulav and etrog, which are, one is a fruit, the etrog, and the lulav is a combination of three different trees.
Mhm.
And you put them together, you hold the etrog in your hand, and the leaves are extended in the other hand, and you shake them in 6 different directions.
What does that signify, the 6 directions?
It's just that you are thanking the 4 winds, you're thanking the earth, and you're thanking God.
Okay, that's 6 directions, okay.
And it is one of the more profound holidays because you were so indebted to a good harvest,
Yeah.
that if you didn't have one, you would not live the following year easily.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Sukkot begins, it is an 8-day holiday. The first 2 days are a little bit more pious, where you're not allowed, it's very much like a Shabbos, where you're not supposed to do any work. And the last 2 days, Shmini Atzeret, which is the beginning of the new year, reading the Torah. And the last day is Simchat Torah, which is Simcha is a good party, Simcha, and Torah is our Torah, which is our book, and you celebrate the book.
Where do they go? I know there's I'm not sure which holiday it is, where they take the Torah out of the synagogue and they parade
That's
around
the holiday, the Simcha of the Torah.
The Simchat Torah.
Right. And that's the holiday that they do it on. And during Sukkot, on Shmini Atzeret, you say Yiska, which is a prayer that you remember those that are deceased in your family.
You say Yiska 4 times a year, right?
Right. So it is done during Sukkot. It is done during Yom Kippur, and it is done at Pesach, and it's done at Shavuos.
But the thing that I know, I do Yiska and I read I don't understand the Hebrew, but when I read the alliteration, the English, and it says you give to charity. That's part of the whole Jewish religion, that you give whatever you have, that you can afford, you give to the charity for other people who cannot sell, who do not have the income or the resources,
or the mazel or the luck, or but it's not just on holidays. Just to let you know that you are commanded, and I read this every day when I say my morning prayers, that it is recommended that you leave 1/10 of your crop in the field for the poor to take. And that's been going on for thousands of years. So
I never heard that one.
Yeah.
It's almost like a tithe that the Christians
have. That's where the Christians got it from.
Oh.
The Christians got all of their giving from the Old Testament.
Yeah. And they took our God.
Well, there's only one God.
Yeah.
for all of us.
Well, that's what gets me confused. Well, the Christians have the New Testament, but the Jews don't have the New or the Old because they only have one testament, the
Well, that
Bible.
is true. We don't, because we don't believe that there is a Messiah to save us. We pray directly to God. We don't pray through an intermediary.
Well, I'll tell you, if we ever needed a Messiah, this is the period that we need him.
Well, you know what?
To save the earth, not necessarily our
Everyone
country.
has their own God. The reality is there's only one God, and we pray to that God. All of us pray to the same God.
Okay. Now you tell me that you go to temple every day, so
Yeah.
you're part of the minyan, which I know the minyan is 10 men.
10 people in
10 people.
our, right.
Okay, so if conservative or reformed, a woman could be part of the minyan?
Yes.
Okay, but not in Orthodox.
Not that I know of. Maybe in modern Orthodox, I don't think so. But women are counted in the minyan and conservative temples. I don't know anything about reformed.
Okay, now I get confused with you. You over time to say you're not a religious person, but to me you're ultra religious. You're doing everything. I don't know if you follow the commandments of Judaism. I don't know if you're kosher or not, but you go to temple every day. You observe the holidays. So what makes you an unreligious person?
Well, in the strict orthodoxy, I don't follow the 612 mitzvot that you're supposed to do every year. I don't observe the Sabbath. I don't observe the culinary laws that are recommended. So on that level, I am not religious with regard to the intricacies of the religion. I am devout in my love of God, and I am devout in my love of mankind. And I serve God through helping others.
Well,
And that's how I look at myself.
Have you ever looked into the, I think it's a new constructionist temple?
No.
Because that sounds like what you are.
Okay. Well, as God would say, I am what I am.
or Popeye would say that I am what I am.
I'm Popeye the Sailor Man.
Now, you also were telling me before we started the show that you wanted to speak about marijuana.
Well, it's been interesting because I look at marijuana differently than most people. I was never a big drinker. So I started smoking pot when I was 15 in 1965 with all of my friends. We were not drinkers. And then it was not legal, and it was very inexpensive, easy to come by. And I always liked the aspect that it is something that you could grow yourself and not have to get it from a liquor store or not having to get it any other way, but you could grow it in your home, just like you would a carrot or a vegetable that you'd cook with. So I did smoke pot from the time I was 15 till I was about 20. And I loved it for not for getting high, but for being with others. And the pot was an enhancement to experiences that I had. And those experiences, a lot of them revolved around being with friends at my fraternity house when I was in college, going to concerts. Loved pot because it enhanced the ability for you to feel the nuances of music. And when I got older, and I stopped smoking around 1970, and I just, life got in the way, and I just kind of gave it up for about 10 years. And then in 1980, I moved to the Five Towns here in New York. I live in Cedarhurst. And the men that I became friendly with were pot smokers, but they had a completely different view and need of pot. Where I used it to enhance an experience, they used it as an experience that they would get together to get high. We never got together to get high. We got together and we smoked pot and we did other things. and they were older than me by at least 10 years. So when I was 30, they were 40. And their relevance of pot was to get wasted.
Yeah.
I never smoked pot to get wasted. I used it as an accelerant, or I used it as an enhancement. And I never smoked that much. I hated to be out of control. So where I would take 2 hits, first I would see how strong the pot was. I would take 2 hits, and that'd be the equivalent of a glass of wine, a can of beer, where my friends would smoke an entire joint each one. And I knew that they were verschnicket and they really weren't able to have conversations that made any sense.
I mean, they just giggled.
They were at a point of inebriation. And I never enjoyed that. And even when I was in my teens, we got high to be happier in what we were going to do.
Yeah, you didn't get high. You didn't get high to escape. A lot of in my high school days. Again, I'm a bit older than you. In my high school days, the kids who smoked pot were sort of like the dropouts. It wasn't the cool crowd, and they smoked pot to escape from their reality. And they either smoked pot or they drank cheap wine, or they they dropped pills. Pills was a big thing also. Uppers and downers.
We were the cool crowd, and we were. And it's funny, when I got to my fraternity, my freshman class were all 18-year-olds at the time, 1968. We had pledged, and I got into ZBT, which was a Jewish fraternity.
What college did you go to?
Brooklyn College, the Beta Xi chapter. And when on a Friday night, the brothers that were already in the fraternity, some of them were 4 years older than us. They were 22. They were born in 1946.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
They were drinkers, and they were afraid that we would lose our license as a fraternity if police came in and busted us for smoking pot. So we couldn't smoke in the fraternity house. We'd have to smoke in the backyard of the fraternity house until a year later, when we were sophomores. Everybody smoked pot and they didn't drink. We became again the cool crowd. And then they allowed us to smoke pot in the fraternity house because the older members already graduated.
Did you sleep over there, or
No. Yeah. You could only study there, and there was always reference material there. We had a fabulous basement. We'd have parties. We'd invite the sororities that we were close with.
So you lived at home?
Lived at home, and
where was home? What area?
Home was Canarsie. It was about 20 minutes from Brooklyn College.
Did you drive or take a bus?
I would thumb. No, at the time I would hitchhike to school, and I would always get a ride. And Mom was always a little nervous, but somebody would be going from my block, Seaview Avenue, to Flatlands Avenue, which is about 1.5 miles. And then I'd hitch again, and I'd get a ride to Brooklyn College. Or if I got close by, I would walk the mile.
Those were the days of innocence.
Well, to a point, yes.
Yeah, because I used to hitchhike a lot also.
Girls didn't hitchhike. It was only boys. Well,
because you couldn't do anything. Well, in those days, you couldn't do anything to boys, but you could do something to girls.
Absolutely. So, so when I got my own house in 1979, I decided when my kids went away to camp, a couple of years later, I would grow pot when the kids were gone, and I would pretty much give it away because I loved the growing of it.
Yeah.
I loved everything about pot. I loved cleaning it, taking the seeds out of it, taking the stems out of it,
wow.
the pot whole. And I remember that when I was a sophomore in college, a friend of mine opened the first head shop in Canarsie, and I would sell his product to my fraternity. So what would I sell? Small glass pipes, and I would sell rolling paper. And he had a fabulous rolling paper. It was called American flag rolling paper, and it was an American flag rolling paper. And I would buy it for about 3 cents a pack wholesale, and I would sell it for $1 a pack, the rolling paper, and everybody would buy it. In my whole fraternity, I was selling, I was making a lot of money, and I had like a green book bag, like a Harvard bag.
Yeah.
And I had a funny thing. One of my fraternity brothers was taking a course in biological anatomy, and he had a fish that he was dissecting. Well, one day, our bags look similar. He takes my bag to his course and he opens it up, and there is 300 packs of rolling paper. And he runs back downstairs. He said, "Did you do anything with my fish?" I said, "I didn't even know I had a fish." And sure enough, the bag had the fish in it, but I had never seen it. But then,
yes, but speaking of rolling paper, this probably is in must be like the early to mid 70s. They had a house in Fire Island in not Robin's Rest. I'm forgetting where it was, but anyway, made friends with this guy, a married guy. It was half married, half single. And what he did is he used to be a pothead. I see Diane in the background working.
right.
What he was a pothead when he got married.
Wow.
And he kept on when he took 2 different rolling papers and put it together, to make one piece of rolling paper. And he said, "Why the hell don't they have whiter paper?" So his father-in-law was a manufacturer, and he went over to him, gave him the idea, and he financed it. And they started a company called Easy Whiter, which became the big rolling plate. He became a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, I mean, pretty interestingly enough, this is almost a segue. I use Easy Wider rolling paper. I buy it by the case.
Yeah.
And I also have a rolling machine, which I use. I'm very good at rolling.
Yeah.
And I use a zigzag rolling machine. And I could roll a joint in less than 20 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I used to, in my pot days. I haven't done it in a long time. I liked rolling it because I always felt like John Wayne sitting on top of a horse.
Oh, that's
rolling my own cigarettes.
I love rolling a machine, and I always keep joints around for friends of mine that I have rolled. Very, very.
Oh, very good. Oh, you make a nice joint.
Oh yeah. Well, the machine does.
Yeah, the machine.
And I actually have a marking on those. I have different pots. So this one has a blue stripe on it.
Different strengths.
Yes. This is a pot called Gorilla Glue. Very high in THC, 2.7 milligrams of THC. And the regular pot I call them 2 different pots. I call one is Happy Pot and one is Sleepy Pot. And the Happy Pot, you take a couple of hits out of and you feel great, just like having a sip of wine. But the Sleepy Pot, if you smoke that joint, you will fall asleep.
Yeah. Well,
and pass out.
Well, I used to smoke joints, probably like must be like 25 years ago or something like that. I stopped smoking because I used to buy it, and depending on who I would buy it from, I would get different effects because people used to mix it with different.
Sure.
And then then I heard that they were using angel dust. Angel dust was big at the time, and it was like an elephant tranquilizer.
Right.
And I said, "The hell with this! I'm not doing this anymore."
I think that's PCP is the other name for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they also they did the same thing. I used to do Coke, but the Coke was my drug of choice when I was on a diet, because I like drinking.
Right.
More of a social to get a little buzz. But before I would go to the bar, me and a friend would go into the bathroom, do a line or 2 of Coke. As he said, get a buzz, not be high, not be out of control, just get a buzz. It was like drinking. And then I take club soda. And that would
keep you maintained, right?
That would keep me maintained. There's some people that I have, some friends, if I had a pound of Coke, they would, until it was out or their nose broke.
No.
But again, going back to the present, I have back I think I don't know if I told you the story. I had back problems, spinal stenosis, which every time I get up, my back hurts.
Wow.
So I asked the doctor, should I smoke marijuana when it became legal in California, medical marijuana? And he said, well, I can't recommend it, but try it, see what happens. So I had to go, there's a special doctor. I thought, oh, he had to give me an examination. But I go there and he asked me, yes, my name. And he said, why do you want to smoke marijuana? I said, I have a bad back. He said, okay. He gave me a prescription, didn't examine me. I think he charged me 50, $60. Then I go, there's a separate store which has a marijuana. But now that, like you did, they have different strengths, different I don't know any variations. I know that, I bought a nickel bag at the time and I got it. And then they also, you don't have to roll they have the joints already rolled.
Really?
Yeah, you can, aside from the candies you could buy, with the,
Right.
we could go, the gummy bears, which are very popular, but you could roll it. So my wife doesn't smoke. So one night, about a week later, I'm in the house and I'm watching TV and I said, well, let me relax and see if it works. So I take 2 tokes. And then I said, oh, gee, I got to go to the bathroom. I could not get up. I mean, literally, I was dizzy.
Right. It was too strong.
It was too strong. And like you said, I like, when I smoked, even back then, I just wanted to get a buzz to feel good. I didn't want to get high that I lost control.
Right. And unfortunately, a lot of the drugs, the stronger drug that I have is called Gorilla Glue. And it got its name from gluing you on your chair, that after you smoke it, you can't get up. And if you smoke a little bit too much, you will pass out and sleep 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, I only did that once. When I was living here and I went back to California and I live in California. I went back to New York, there was a party. And the kid who threw the party, his father was an ambassador, I forget from which South American country. So he used to be able to get strong marijuana and they never searched him. I smoked with a group of people, I passed out.
Right.
That thing was so damn strong.
It's terrible. I
think
mean,
it was Panama Red or something. I think it was a
unless
Panamanian.
you see, we have an experience different than other people. We go back many years with this, that we know a feeling that we want to get from the pot.
Right.
And if you've gone over. I would rather be less high than too high.
Yeah, I always wanted to be in control. I don't want to lose control.
Exactly. So because I have been very involved now with our veterans, one of our good friends, who I don't want to mention, but grows pot. And when I told him what I was doing, I said, some of them have wives that are going through chemo. Some of them have physical issues. He said, Syd, let me give you a pound of pot. And he did. A pound of pot of this pot is about $3,000 to $4,000. And I give it out to my vets who want it, because I don't want them buying it at the store if we have it for free. So what
Syd, you have my address?
You can have it.
Is that legal to mail through the mail, even though both of our states?
No, because it's federally still illegal.
Illegal, yeah.
But last year, when I went through the pound, and I still have probably about 3/4 of a pound left from last year, one of them, sadly for somebody, but not for me, had seeds in it. Good pot now is seedless because they have kept the male pollen away from it.
Yeah.
So there are no seeds. But for whatever reason, one of the plants had 200-300 seeds. And I separated them and I give away seeds to people that want it. I took this year 24 seeds. I put them in an egg crate, and I got 17 plants out of the seeds that I planted. And I put all 17 seedlings in the ground, mainly in little 2 feet by 2 foot pots, and grew it. And you have to get rid of the male plants. And it's easy to see which ones are the males because they
They have
have,
little penises.
well, they have little testicles, actually.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
A
And
question is, again, you do it just for personal use, right? It's not for selling.
no, I do
Right.
just to give away.
So you don't need any special permit for that, or?
No. And it is legal in New York to grow up to 4 plants per person.
Mhm.
So after I got rid of the male plants, which were, I think we had 9 male plants, I had 8 plants left, and which is 4 plants for me and 4 plants for my wife.
Mhm.
So it's perfectly legal here
Yeah, but it's in the same household, so you have 8 plants in your household. It's legal per person?
per person.
Oh, okay.
And I was very, very lucky. I'll show you my crop. Very proud of it. Let's see if you could.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is one plant. It
Yeah.
looks like those are buds. Here's
Yeah.
another plant. I think these are buds. This was taken a month ago.
Huh?
Your expertise.
Did you have to have like special light and special conditions for it to grow?
No. This one also.
Oh,
Not at all. It's in the
Look like
backyard.
male plants. Now, the only female plants I look like I got is this one. This one looks like it's the right
Yeah.
plant.
yeah. That's...
This one also looks like it's the right plant.
Did you ever
turned
think?
out they were all female.
Yeah. Did you ever think about going into business and getting a license to sell it commercially?
Thank you.
No. It's like I have a fig tree. I have the same joy. This year I have over 200 figs that have, I've already harvested about 100 of them.
Mhm.
And Diane has a drying machine and we're able to cut the figs in half and we dry them. And I love dried fruit.
Mm.
So because the weather in the New York
But
area,
it's very fattening dried fruit.
okay,
Because I love dried apricots, but I can eat so many. And then I finally was told that each of the dried apricot has the same amount of calories as a whole apricot.
well, I kind of ignore that. I'm not that heavy, so I kind of like what I get. But this year, the fig crop was that great because we had a combination of high humidity, a lot of rain, steamy, hot. So my fig tree thought it was in Sicily, and my pot plants were all next to my fig plants. So this year, between the conditions, it was perfect to grow the pot and perfect for the figs.
Fantastic. Yeah. I just started, speaking, my son got me some gummy bears
Okay,
because I wanted to see it has everybody's been touting the CBD,
right.
which basically supposedly is like a painkiller.
I have not had success with it. I've tried CBD liquid mixed into body cream, and I had bad knees. This was before I had my knee operation, and I did not have really a big effect from.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've had a very mild. I guess it's mild in the gummy bears, and it also has some THC, but I think it was like a 9-to-1 ratio.
Did you feel anything?
No. I might have to start experimenting more, but it becomes expensive.
You see, here it's very inexpensive, especially if you grow your own pot.
If you grow your own, yeah. Well, I might go back taking my ibuprofen, the Motrin with my pain.
I could always send you some seeds. Would you want some seeds? Would you grow them?
I might, if you send me some seeds and instructions.
Right.
Because I do have I live in an apartment house, but I do have a big backyard. Actually, it's about 10 yards by 15 yards.
I would see if anyone else is growing in your, because you could smell it.
Well, I can't smell it. Well, I haven't smelled. I know what burning pot is when you smoke it. I don't know.
It smells pretty much like burning pot, but it's, that's one of the complaints that one of my neighbors has.
Oh.
that they smell it. But he's going to do me a favor, and he's going to let me dry it in a shed that he
Yeah.
has.
But I always, I know some people, in the complex smoke it, but I don't mind getting contact high. You walk by, it's marijuana. My wife goes, go away, go away, go, okay.
Yeah. That I've never had. But if you're interested, you send me your address and I'll send you some seeds.
Okay, I'll have to speak to her because she's the one that has the green thumb.
It's pretty easy. I mean, it's a weed. So with
That's true.
With very little help, it grows on its own. And as long as there is not male plants around, you could go online. I learned everything online actually to see what the male plants would look like when they flowered. And I was able to identify them easily and pull them out. So I just have the female plants.
That's a funny concept that the males have testicles. It looks like testicles.
It's really funny, but that's what they look like. Go online and see. Look up male plants.
You got my interest spurred.
Male gorilla glue plants.
Do you ever do hashish? Is that part of
Yes.
the same thing?
Yeah, years ago when I was in Israel, actually, we were able to get Lebanese hash for $10. It was very thick, and it almost was like in a little bar as long as my pinky, and you could just slice off a little bit of the resin and smoke that. And
well, you put it in like a pipe.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to smoke a water pipe. When I was in my fraternity, I had a water pipe, which I got when I was in high school. And some of my friends borrowed it, and they made the mistake of leaving it in the back seat of a car that 5 of them were in, and all 5 of them got arrested because of my water pipe. I wasn't with them. They all 5 spend the night in jail.
Are they all in Costa Rica now?
They are all over the country, actually. I still remember all of them.
Costa Rica was a big place for people that were caught get drug convictions.
Really?
And Costa Rica was they didn't have an extradition.
So you could go there and
you go there and you didn't have to worry.
But then you couldn't come back to America.
Right. Except you could now. Well, I had people that I knew that were they weren't friends, they were acquaintances. They'd go down to Mexico.
Yeah.
And they'd hire someone, and they did there was like an auction for the marijuana fields. And they'd buy the marijuana fields, and then they'd put them in trucks and bring them to the US. Half of it was confiscated, but the half they got through, they made a huge profit.
Right.
But I'm a nice Jewish boy, and I'm chicken.
You know what?
It was too much to risk.
Yeah, that's how I felt. And until pot is legal now, I wouldn't ever have talked about it, but I kind of like what I've done with the plants. Yeah. And I grew really good tomatoes a couple of years. To me, this is like a tomato crop.
Now if you could do the tomatoes and figs with a little of the THC in it, cross-pollinate.
Yeah,
you're the scientist. I expect in another 6 months or so you can say, Malcolm, that was a great idea.
Well, you know what? They use marigolds next to tomato plants, so maybe there are other plants that could be good for the pot plants.
Yeah, of course. Anyway, Syd, we ran out of time. We ran out of time about 5 minutes ago.
Oh my God! But I think this was a fun session.
Yeah, and we didn't talk anything about. Wrap it up.
We'll do that next week.
Okay, we have to get more things and get some people on. Let's talk about your good work.
I think this coming week, I may have mentioned to you, but I think there's going to be some articles on my DNA work with the Roosevelts and the Halls.
No, you mentioned something about DNA, but we never got into it. Maybe we'll do that next week.
Well, we'll see if the article comes out. I could send you a link to it. You could read it.
Oh, definitely. In the meantime, again, no Jewish holidays coming up in the near future that you have to be off. Fantastic.
Shabbos.
Yeah, well, that's we don't broadcast on we broadcast on Shabbos, but we don't record on it.
Right, and I heard you're having fun with Pat Alicia.
Oh yeah, Pat's a fantastic guy. I mean, I like him called Commander Pat.
Actually, he's General Pat,
Well, it's Commander Pat of the
American
American
Legion,
Legion.
but he is
And a general.
Brigadier General
Yeah.
Pat Alicia.
I'm impressed, especially as a civilian.
Yes, and he's a great man.
And
I become friendly with him, and we like each other, and we
and he
spend
does
time.
he does good work with the American Legion. In fact,
He
it's
does.
guys, if you're listening to our show, I have another show it's called Commander Pat Alicia, and it's all about the American Legion and what it does. And if you're out there in a vet, join, because the problem is we're talking about the Legion is getting older, and they have to start recruiting more younger guys. And it's a great organization. But in any event, I will see you next Tuesday. Have a great week. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
As I say in Los Angeles, shalom.
Vaya con Dios.